Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Josh Henning and Ryan Rothstein filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Football at 4 being brought to you by the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games. Go to the Gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more information, visit oceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Adam Caplan is back on the Elite Acura hotline as this is the craziest day of the NFL year. Adam, how you holding up today?
I'm doing okay. I'm just trying to track all the stuff. The Eagles made a trade, which we'll get to in a second. We knew they were going to. Just we didn't know who it was going to be. Wasn't what I was expecting. No, not Jonathan Taylor. There was something else we heard that might go down, but it didn't. But the fact of the matter is they just acquired, according to ESPN, and this is interesting because the guy was going to be cut. Broncos tight end Albert Okwuegbunam. I think I said it correctly. How do I know this? Because I met Albert 4 years ago at the Combine, and he must have given it to us 20 times to finally get it right. A really nice guy, by the way. He was a former fourth-round pick. He was on the final year of his rookie deal, $1.101 million, not guaranteed. So the Eagles gave up, Josh. They gave up a 2025 sixth to get Albert O, and they got a seventh back for 2025. So they gave up a round in that draft. This is one of these deals. You take a shot now. This does give them, based on what we're seeing right now. The Eagles, by the way, have not announced all their moves yet, but this does give them 4 tight ends on the roster. So if they keep Grant Calcaterra, that would keep 4 right now on the roster. So we'll see what happens.
So moving forward, if they're keeping 4 tight ends, what does Adam Caplan think that means for the other positions on offense?
Well, Josh, you have to look at their situation. I had said on our show that dropped on Monday morning, would not be shocking if the Eagles went with 4 receivers. Well, Britton Covey's been told he's being cut, so you have to see. I mean that's right now. Now, who knows if they made a trade? Who knows what they've done today, because we don't have all their moves. We don't know yet if they've added another receiver, but right now it looks like, as we speak here at 4:04 Eastern, it looks like they're only going to keep 4. Now, it's highly unlikely that the game against the Patriots, so they only dressed 4 receivers. I've seen it like once in my career when a team dressed 4. You're asking for it. You're just taking too big of a risk. But again, the game is not played for a week and a half. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now, they don't have a punter on their 53-man roster. We'll see what happens through waivers. We'll see what happens as we get closer. Josh, that one. To be honest with you, I've not been surprised by any of the releases except for one, and it did surprise me. Aaron Sipos was told he's being let go. That caught a lot of people around the league surprised. I'll leave it at that. That was not what we were expecting. So we'll see what happens here with the punting position.
So, Adam, what you mentioned, Sipos, let's hit on that real quick. What is next for the Eagles? Because we know that this is going to be the initial 53. This is like the beta version when it comes out for something. It's not. We're still waiting for the final product, right?
So tomorrow, okay, let's move forward with this. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, teams could claim players off waivers. Within an hour after that, they could fill their entire practice squad of 16 players if they choose to. They could certainly start doing it. Most teams don't do it immediately, all 16, but they could start doing that. So now we'll see as the other 31 teams, and really the Eagles too, as they announce who they've let go, we'll get a better idea of who that punter is going to be, and the other positions, by the way, because they're probably going to keep 6 or 7 defensive tackles. 7, as I said on our show, would be kind of insane. In fact, personnel guy with another team I'm pretty friendly with said, and he listened to our show, he goes, do you really think they'll keep 7? I said, no, I didn't say they would keep 7. I said it would be a surprise. He goes, this person said he could not remember a team keeping 7 defensive tackles, not 7 DNs, D tackles, just 7 individually defensive tackles. That would be a surprise.
Adam, I want your thoughts on Kayvon Wallace. Eagles cut Kayvon, and I just said to Josh earlier, and obviously give us your thoughts and insight. Just a disappointment and a bust, but your reaction.
You're Ryan. So, yeah, our Andrew DeCecco reported that for us. So we were expecting him not to be on the team. What I said was if they kept him, would it only be for one reason, for special teams? Their special teams coverage, as we know, was not very good last season. It was better in the second half, but it still was not good enough, guys. They lost two of their best special teams coverage players for the season with torn Achilles, and I don't know how they're going to do it, guys. This is we don't talk about special teams a lot. We don't talk about coverage a lot until it becomes a problem. But, guys, this is something to keep an eye on what they do here for special teams coverage. And Ben Van Sumeren, if they do cut him, I'm sure he would go to the practice squad. But I had another team tell me that if the Eagles cut him, they would strongly consider claiming him only because he's so fast on special teams. Apparently, his game tape for the two special teams for two of those games are really good. So we'll see what happens there.
Let's go to the offensive side here for the Birds, Adam, and running back. Obviously, a name that is getting a ton of play nationally and even locally, of course, is Jonathan Taylor. But give us the latest and, your opinion on the running back room right now as it stands just after 4 p.m. Eastern for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I'd said it, on our show repeatedly. They were not trading for Jonathan Taylor. I don't know where that kid who put that report out is not a reporter. He tries to get Twitter followers. You're not the guys. I put this out during the draft of 2017 that I was told the Eagles were going to draft Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Mosher was there. He and I did radio together locally in 2017. He asked me who it's going to be. I said, I'm probably going to be wrong about this, and people were skewering me, but they're going to draft McCaffrey if he's there. And obviously he never got there. But my sourcing on this told me that they know that to draft a running back, to justify having a running back of that ilk, he must catch the football in a significant way. The Eagles historically do not want to run the ball a lot. They want to come out throwing. And if it's really working, they'll stick with it. But overall, guys, we know the Eagles want to be a passing team, not running it, and it made absolutely no sense. And by the way, you would have to think about this, guys. If the Eagles were going to entertain this, let's put Swift, Gainwell, Penny, and Scott just to the side here. They're not making a lot of money. Scott's their highest-paid running back this year at $2 million. But just think about how ridiculous it is. They're going to pay Jonathan Taylor $15 million a year. It made no sense. And I just thought it was funny. When you put stuff together, think about how the thing. Joe Banner and I worked together at ESPN. Idea, and he explained it to me. When you pay a running back that much, you have to be like McCaffrey. You got to be like McCaffrey. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Talk with Adam Caplan, NFL insider at Caplan NFL, Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, joining us on the Elite Acura hotline. Adam, so with all that being said, we touched on receiver, we touched on tight end and running back, but we can't not talk about offensive line. So what is the latest on the O-line?
Yeah, we have not gotten everything there. I mean, before his off the field issue came too light, he made it. That was a shocker. That was probably the biggest surprise that nobody saw coming. Guys, I mean, when we look at it right now, obviously Tyler Steen, Jack Driscoll, and Suheta and Fred Johnson are on the roster. We don't know if they've kept the 10th guy. That's the only thing we don't know yet. It would surprise me if he made it. As of now, we have not gotten the Eagles list, and as of now,
having some issues with Mr. Caplan's cellular device, mobile device, cell phone. That all works, however you want to categorize it. So Josh is going to hit Adam back up in just a moment, and we'll try and get a better connection, see what's going on. But obviously, you're hearing Adam just react and give us the insights, everything that has transpired here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Some surprises, right? Kayvon Wallace, as I mentioned to him, one of them. Jonathan Taylor, absolutely a big story, and now the 4 p.m. deadline has officially passed, and Josh has Adam back on the phone. We're just going to wrap up with Adam. We have about 3 or 4 minutes left in the segment, so let's bring Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds back into the conversation. and we'll let him take over, Josh. So
yeah, Adam, is just finish up what you were saying about the offensive line. About you said Josh Sells looks like he's going to make it.
Yeah, well, as of now, remember, if a guy, and this is the worst part about all this, a guy can make it for now and be cut tomorrow. So, yeah, some young agents who make this mistake, they announce that their players made the team only for the guy to get cut tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with Josh Shields. But as of now, he's on the team. But again, the Eagles have not announced their moves, and I'm anxiously waiting to see what they do because they made the Albert O trade. Oh, by the way, Isaiah Rodgers, that was a very interesting move that they did for a guy who can't play this season because he's suspended for at least one season. So we'll see what happens. But, I was told that he might have started for the Colts at corner this season had he not obviously had his gambling issue. So that's a very interesting signing. We'll have more about that on our show that drops Thursday morning. But I like that signing just from a talent standpoint. Guy's talented. Obviously has off-the-field concerns, but very interesting signing nevertheless.
You just mentioned corner, so let's hit on that real quick.
Yeah.
It looks like the Eagles, how many do you think they're going to keep initially and how many? Because remember last year, Adam, they kept 6 initially, but officially they had 5 before week 1 of the season.
Yeah, and Josh, that's another thing. Like, this is the deal. Does Eli Ricks make it? Does Mario Goodrich make it, who could be the backup slot? As I reported earlier today, they told Josiah Scott that he's gone, but now he could come back to the practice squad if he clears waivers.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to make a decision. Who is their backup slot? That they don't have one right now. No, it's not going to be James Bradbury. That's not what he's being done to be paid $10.5 million a season. He could do it because he took reps in a limited fashion, but they need a full-time backup slot. And McPherson would have been that guy had he not gotten hurt. And considering he's a really good special teams player, they don't have that luxury. That's yet another position they got to take a look at.
Adam, before we let you go, I got to ask you about linebacker. It's looking more and more like the Eagles are going to go, at least initially, for the beta version of the roster, the bare minimum of linebackers out there.
Well, it's either going to be 3 or 4. If they cut Van Sumeren, it would be 3. With Dean and Cunningham your starters, and Ellis is your third linebacker. Now, again, 16-man practice squad. They could sign a veteran. They could sign Morrow to their practice squad. They could, if Van Sumeren is waived, we haven't got everything official yet. If they cut him and he clears waivers, although he could be claimed, probably not, but only for special teams if you were going to claim him. He's not ready to play on defense. But they have a coverage issue on special teams guys. I'm really interested to see. I know we don't talk, as I said earlier, I know we don't talk about this enough or a lot. But that's something we're going to be watching because I'm really wondering who their coverage players are going to be in that area.
Yeah, of course, and losing both Sean Bradley and Zech McPherson for the year definitely puts a huge question mark over the special teams. Keep it up with Adam Caplan at Caplan NFL on Twitter. Make sure you check out the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, for the latest on the Eagles. As just because it's past 4 p.m., there's still more changes to be made to the roster. And as all guests, Adam Caplan joined us on the Elite Acura Hotline. Adam, keep up the good work.
All right, guys. Thank you.